Power is most often compromised not by formidable opposition, but by mismanaged attention. The loudest disruptions in history rarely came from capable adversaries. They came from individuals who lacked depth, yet compensated with aggression. These figures posture, provoke, and posture again, not to win outcomes, but to force reactions. They seek friction because friction gives them temporary significance. Intelligent people understand this pattern early. They recognize that responding incorrectly to such behavior does not resolve it. It feeds it. Machiavelli observed that disorder enters through those who cannot govern themselves yet demand to govern others. The tough-acting individual is not dangerous because of strength. They are dangerous because they tempt others into abandoning discipline. They pull interactions into emotional terrain where logic loses authority. When this happens, power leaks invisibly. Time is lost. Focus fractures. Strategy dissolves into reaction. Those who fail to understand this mistake noise for threat and end up exhausting themselves against empty force. History repeatedly shows that the most effective leaders were not the most confrontational. They were the most selective. They chose when to respond and when to remain still. They understood that presence alone could either elevate or diminish authority depending on how it was managed. Acting tough is often the last refuge of those without leverage. Those who possess real leverage do not announce it. Number one begins with the understanding that performative aggression is a signal of internal instability. Psychologically, individuals who act tough rely on external validation to maintain self-image. Their sense of identity is fragile. Any perceived challenge feels existential, which is why they escalate quickly. This makes them unpredictable, not powerful. Their threat lies in volatility, not competence. Machiavelli warned that men driven by insecurity are the easiest to manipulate, yet the most disruptive if mishandled. Sun Tzu captured this dynamic precisely when he wrote that one who is quick to anger can be provoked at will. The tough-acting individual broadcasts emotional openings constantly. They want reaction because reaction confirms their existence within the hierarchy. The intelligent response is emotional austerity. Calmness under provocation communicates something devastating to them, non-importance. When aggression meets neutrality, the aggressor loses footing. Their behavior no longer produces results. Over time, this creates internal collapse. They either withdraw or expose themselves further. The risk emerges when one tries to correct these individuals through excessive explanation, reassurance, or accommodation. Such efforts rarely address the underlying instability. Instead, they reinforce it. Continued tolerance can be misread as uncertainty, encouraging further boundary testing. History shows that many institutions weakened not because of external pressure, but because disruptive figures were allowed to operate without clear limits. When restraint is absent, imbalance spreads and systems lose coherence. Saving them creates precedent. Others observe that disruption gains attention. The environment slowly reshapes itself around volatility. Strategy becomes impossible because stability no longer exists. Power drains not through confrontation, but through accommodation. The affirmation for this law is direct and uncompromising. I do not react to insecurity. Number 2 addresses the false equation between aggression and dominance. Tough-acting individuals often attempt to establish hierarchy through confrontation. They believe that whoever speaks louder or pushes harder occupies the higher position. This belief is primitive. It belongs to environments without structure. In ordered systems, dominance is determined by control of outcomes, not volume. Machiavelli cautioned that leaders who respond to every challenge appear subordinate to their challengers. Authority is defined by the ability to set terms, not chase disputes. Sun Tzu emphasized that the wise commander avoids battles that offer no strategic gain. Engagement itself is a resource, and wasting it weakens position. Psychologically, the tough-acting individual craves confrontation because it places them at the center of attention. They thrive in chaos where, when drawn into prolonged argument or emotional exchange, even intelligent individuals begin operating on their terms. This is where mistakes. The strategic alternative is brevity and finality. When response is required, it is delivered once, without explanation or emotional charge. Boundaries stated calmly carry far more authority than repeated justifications. Silence after clarity is not avoidance. It is control. Attempting to save such individuals by debating them endlessly or attempting to reason them into composure reinforces their strategy. They learn that persistence yields engagement. Over time, they escalate tactics, knowing that resistance will be met with more attention. Entire organizations stagnate under this dynamic, spending more time managing personalities than producing results. History offers countless examples of empires weakened not by enemies, but by internal figures who thrived on conflict. Leaders who indulged them lost credibility. Leaders who constrained them preserved order. The difference was not cruelty, but clarity. The affirmation that anchors this principle is steady and deliberate. I engage only where advantage exists. Number 3 centers on the distinction between confidence and capability. Tough-acting individuals often project certainty without substance. They speak decisively, interrupt frequently, and assert opinions aggressively. To the untrained eye, this appears authoritative. In reality, it is compensation. True capability does not need constant reinforcement. Machiavelli understood that appearances matter, but only when supported by results. Authority without structure collapses under pressure. The threat here is subtle. Confident incompetence can occupy space long enough to derail progress before it is exposed. By the time consequences surface, damage is already done. Smart individuals counter this not with confrontation but with systems. They shift evaluation from personality to performance. They insist on standards, metrics, and accountability. In such environments, bravado withers. Without ambiguity to exploit, the tough-acting individual struggles to maintain influence. Sun Tzu emphasized terrain over temperament. When the environment rewards clarity and outcome, noise loses power. Intelligent people redesign conditions rather than attempting to reform character. This is more efficient and far more effective. Saving such individuals by compensating for their deficiencies creates imbalance. Others are forced to overperform quietly, while the loudest voice claims disproportionate credit. This erodes morale and distorts perception. Eventually, the system bends around weakness and collapse follows. History remembers many leaders who mistook confidence for competence. Their speeches were bold, their plans hollow. Those who surrounded themselves with substance rather than spectacle endured. The intelligent response is quiet exposure through consistency, not public confrontation. The affirmation for this law reinforces internal alignment. I respect outcomes, not theatrics. These 3 principles form the foundation of strategic restraint. Smart people do not attempt to overpower those who act tough. They outlast them. They deny them the resources they seek: attention, chaos, and emotional engagement. By maintaining discipline, setting clear boundaries, and prioritizing structure over personality, they preserve momentum while others exhaust themselves performing strength instead of building it. Power does not advance through confrontation alone. It advances through calibration, distance, and controlled exposure. Once the intelligent understand how to neutralize noise, they must also learn how to prevent it from returning in different forms. The individuals who act tough are not static. When direct provocation fails, they adapt. They attempt subtler methods: manipulation, alliance building, reputation sabotage, forced familiarity. Smart people remain effective because they anticipate these shifts rather than reacting to them. What follows are not tactics of cruelty, but of containment. Power survives by limiting access. Number 4 begins with the principle of denying proximity. Psychologically, tough-acting individuals seek closeness to power because proximity allows influence without merit. They insert themselves into conversations, decisions, and environments where they do not belong, hoping that familiarity will substitute for value. This makes them dangerous, not because they are capable, but because access grants leverage. Machiavelli warned that those who gain closeness without loyalty or competence eventually undermine authority. Power structures collapse when boundaries dissolve. Sun Tzu similarly observed that disorder enters when ranks are unclear. The tough-acting individual thrives in ambiguity. They blur roles, overstep limits, and exploit hesitation. Smart people manage this by controlling access with precision. They do not explain boundaries repeatedly. They enforce them quietly through structure, limited information, restricted involvement, and controlled interaction. Distance is not hostility. It is insulation. When proximity is denied, the tough-acting individual loses their primary advantage. The risk intensifies when inclusion is offered as a remedy. Extending access in response to disruptive behavior often reinforces the very patterns it seeks to correct. It communicates that pressure and forcefulness are effective paths to proximity. Once granted influence without clear standards, imbalance tends to spread internally. History repeatedly shows that organizations weaken when individuals advance through familiarity and assertiveness rather than competence, gradually undermining coherence and long-term stability. Saving them through proximity teaches others that boundaries are negotiable. Soon, power is surrounded not by competence, but by noise. Strategic isolation, the affirmation for this law, reinforces sovereignty. Access to me is earned, not taken. Number 5 addresses the weaponization of reaction through reputation. When tough-acting individuals fail to dominate directly, they often attempt indirect control by shaping narratives. They provoke situations designed to make others appear unreasonable, cold, or arrogant. Psychologically, this is projection. They externalize their instability and attempt to assign it to others. Machiavelli understood reputation as a strategic asset. He warned that allowing others to define your image is a form of surrender. Sun Tzu noted that confusion among allies is as damaging as strength among enemies. The tough-acting individual exploits this by creating social friction. Smart people counter this by remaining behaviorally consistent. They do not chase rumors or defend against every insinuation. Defense invites further attack. Instead, they allow patterns to speak. Over time, consistency exposes manipulation. Reputation stabilizes when actions align predictably with values. Attempting to save such individuals by clarifying misunderstandings or justifying oneself publicly often backfires. It places the intelligent person on trial. The provocateur gains attention and momentum. History shows that leaders who obsessed over perception lost control of narrative entirely. The strategic response is patience paired with documentation. Truth does not need urgency. Time favors consistency. The tough-acting individual, unable to sustain coherence, eventually contradicts themselves. The affirmation here is grounded and resolute. My consistency outlasts distortion. Number 6 focuses on emotional economy. Tough-acting individuals are emotional spenders. They provoke reactions to siphon energy. Each response, each explanation, each moment of irritation feeds them. Over time, this drains focus and resilience from those around them. This is their most corrosive trait. Machiavelli warned that leaders who lose emotional control lose authority. Sun Tzu emphasized that exhaustion precedes defeat. The psychological threat here is attrition, not sudden collapse, but gradual erosion. Smart people protect themselves by conserving emotional output. They respond with minimal affect, controlled language, and deliberate pacing. They do not rush decisions under pressure. They do not reward urgency manufactured by others. Emotional discipline creates asymmetry. The tough-acting individual expends energy rapidly while the intelligent remain composed. Trying to save such individuals by empathizing excessively or absorbing their volatility transfers cost unfairly. It teaches them that others will regulate emotions for them. Over time, this creates dependency and resentment. Entire teams burn out managing one unstable presence. History demonstrates that emotional restraint is not weakness, it is endurance. Those who mastered it outlived louder figures who consumed themselves. The affirmation for this law seals inner control. I spend my energy deliberately. Together, these laws deepen the architecture of strategic intelligence. Power is preserved not by constant assertion, but by selective exposure, narrative patience, and emotional conservation. Those who understand this do not merely survive disruptive personalities, they render them irrelevant through structure. Noise fades where discipline. Power reaches its highest form not when threats are defeated, but when they no longer register as relevant. By this stage, the intelligent individual has learned that tough-acting figures are symptoms, not causes. They arise where structure is weak, attention is cheap, and discipline is inconsistent. The final phase of mastery is not reactive defense, but preemptive dominance of environment, timing, and self-command. What follows completes the doctrine. These are not survival tactics, these are positioning laws. Number 7 begins with the principle of asymmetry. Tough-acting individuals rely on predictability. They escalate because they expect a familiar response: anger, justification, resistance, or withdrawal. Their sense of control comes from knowing how others will react. Psychologically, this is critical. Predictability gives them confidence. Remove it, and their behavior collapses. Machiavelli understood that power lies in being unreadable. He warned that those who reveal their nature too clearly become easy to manage. Sun Tzu echoed this when he wrote that all warfare is based on deception, not lies, but strategic ambiguity. The intelligent individual never reacts the same way twice to provocation. Sometimes there is silence. Sometimes there is swift closure. Sometimes there is redirection. The pattern cannot be learned. The threat of the tough-acting person here is not direct harm, but adaptive persistence. When one tactic fails, they search for another. Asymmetry denies them feedback. Without understanding cause and effect, they cannot refine their approach. Confusion replaces confidence. Trying to save them by explaining boundaries, motives, or reasoning removes this advantage. Explanation teaches them how to adjust. It gives them the map. History shows that leaders who over-explained strategy armed their opposition. Silence preserves leverage. The affirmation that reinforces this law is controlled and precise. I remain unpredictable to those who test me. Number 8 addresses temporal dominance. Tough-acting individuals operate in urgency. They force immediate responses, rush decisions, and emotional timelines. Psychologically, urgency creates the illusion of importance. When everything is urgent, nothing is considered. This benefits those who lack depth but thrive in chaos. Machiavelli warned against acting under pressure created by others. He observed that those who control timing control outcomes. Sun Tzu emphasized waiting for the moment when the enemy is unbalanced. The intelligent individual slows everything down. They do not answer immediately. They do not decide under pressure. They do not match urgency with urgency. The threat here is subtle coercion. Urgency is used to bypass judgment. When intelligent people surrender timing, they surrender advantage. The tough-acting individual wins not through strength, but through acceleration. Saving such individuals by accommodating their urgency teaches them that pressure works. They escalate timelines further. Over time, this creates a permanent crisis environment. Strategic thought becomes impossible. History favors those who mastered time. Leaders who paused, observed, and delayed often avoided disasters that impulsive figures rushed into. Control of time is control of power. The affirmation for this law is firm and grounded. I decide on my timeline, not yours. Number 9 focuses on reputational gravity. At advanced levels, the intelligent individual no longer manages individual conflicts. They manage perception ecosystems. Tough-acting individuals lose power when their behavior is framed as predictable, ineffective, and inconsequential. This is not done through attack, but through consistent alignment with higher standards. Machiavelli understood that reputation is built through repeated behavior, not declarations. Sun Tzu noted that moral influence stabilizes forces without engagement. When someone is known for calm authority, consistency, and results, provocateurs appear small by contrast. The psychological threat here is erosion. If reputation is neglected, repeated disruptions can chip away at perceived authority. Smart people counter this by maintaining impeccable consistency. Over time, others stop responding to the tough-acting individual because the hierarchy is clear. Trying to save them by defending against every slight damages reputational gravity. Defense suggests vulnerability. By consistency suggests. History shows that figures who endured quietly often emerged unchallenged, while their critics faded into irrelevance. The affirmation for this law reinforces stature. My reputation is built through consistency. Number 10 is the final refinement, internal sovereignty. At the highest level, tough-acting individuals are no longer seen as obstacles or irritants. They are indicators. They reveal where boundaries must be reinforced, where systems need tightening, and where attention must be withdrawn. Is no longer involved. Machiavelli believed that the ruler who governs himself governs everything else more easily. Sun Tzu emphasized self-mastery as the foundation of command. The ultimate threat of the tough-acting individual is distraction from one's own discipline. Once that is eliminated, their power vanishes entirely. Saving them at this stage is not only unnecessary, it is counterproductive. Growth does not come from rescuing instability. It comes from refining order. History remembers builders, not agitators. The final affirmation is quiet and absolute. I remain sovereign over myself. This completes the doctrine. Smart people do not waste strength proving dominance to those who act tough. They build structures where such behavior cannot survive. They conserve energy, control timing, curate access, and maintain internal command. Power at its highest form is calm, selective, and enduring. Those who understand this move forward untouched, while noise dissolves behind them.